Welcome to the Let's Keep It Light podcast, and thanks for listening. In this episode, Ginger and Marcy welcome special guests Colleen and Joe to discuss the effects of light therapy on Alzheimer's.
So this is the transcranial photobiomodulation presentation related to the 40 hertz. That's the audio-visual stimulation for Alzheimer's. And I'm Marcia Mary Denton, and my clients are Colleen and Joe, and that's who will be part of this presentation. The question that I've asked in the past is very simple. Do you know a survivor of cancer? We get answers all over the place. Yes, I am. All kinds of answers. Do you know of a survivor of Alzheimer's? And their faces go blank. Their voices are silent. So the question, do you know a survivor of Alzheimer's disease, is really touching the hearts of so many people. There's nothing we can do. Is this still true? No, it is not. So assessing the status of Alzheimer's uses a MoCA cognitive test. And the scoring is stable, it's juried, people do it all the time, and it ranges from 0 to 30. 26 is a high normal. Actually, 20 is still normal, but very close to being Alzheimer's. So mild cognitive impairment is around 20, 22. 16.2 seems to be the average of people with Alzheimer's disease. So this is generally used all over the place. It's very common. And it's called the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. That's why we have a short name for it, MoCA. Now, the research that supports the photobiomodulation in 40 hertz is absolutely brand new technical information. It has been building for years, but we are getting tremendous research showing up that says, hey, we can do something about Alzheimer's. This is the article. It's in the PowerPoint, and it will be there for people to look at and see. And this was published in 2024, but the research done in 23. How exciting it is to have the research backing up what I know and now what you guys know. So photobiomodulation talks about a pathophysiological mechanism, which is a bunch of words, but it says it makes tangles, which is something we've talked about a lot. Beta amyloid plaques and tangles. We kind of know that this is a piece of the pie. We just haven't had the research to support it. This is the other article that just came through. 40 hertz light therapy on the amyloid load in patients. Wow. Now we're talking research about that 40 hertz that people thought I was crazy asking people to use. That 40 hertz sound and blinking light is absolutely now known to dissolve the proteins and the peptides that cause the development of the plaques that cause the development of Alzheimer's. How exciting we are living in a time of support, really. Colleen and Joe were introduced to me through Eva, Colleen's sister, who gave me a phone call and said, I understand that you know a little bit about Alzheimer's. Can you help my sister? And I said, well, it's been a while since I've worked with clients in Alzheimer's, but sure. I called Joe and Colleen and we said, okay, let's give it a go. They were in the process of being assessed by doctors at a university hospital. And Colleen was not happy about her situation, as I understand. So I had experience with working with Alzheimer patients before and had very good success. And I still had the equipment from 5 and 8 years ago. And so I was excited about sharing it, mailed it on to them in New Hampshire from Texas. And it arrived the same day, as I understand, that the neurologic test that they gave you.
Oh, the PET scan?
PET scan. So the doctor who was analyzing the PET scan said something to Colleen and Joe that disturbed them. What did he tell you?
Basically, there wasn't a lot that they could do. I mean, that's really they were really good. They were really nice. We went to multiple doctors, not just one or two or three or four. We went to multiple doctors, and then they were all very nice. But they basically, not something they could do. I mean, there wasn't anything they could really do. That's kind of what it was. It was, we didn't have anything.
Yeah, it all started with the fact that there was eye examination by our eye doctor, and he noticed that there was a deficiency in her vision, and there wasn't anything wrong with her eyes. And so that started us with first MRI to see if there were any tumors that might be involved in that, but there wasn't any tumors detected. And then we went from there to a neuro-ophthalmologist that gave Colleen her first MoCA test, and we discovered that there was a deficiency in her cognitive. And that upset you tremendously, and that, led to a PET scan that he referred us to, and then that showed the areas of the brain that weren't taking up the glucose, and there were areas in the brain, mostly posterior, that had gone dark. And so, and then we met with a cognitive neurologist after that, and that was the point when we began the light therapy. And
yeah, that was interesting. The equipment showed up the same day that you got the news that there was nothing they could do for you, as I understood. And it was extremely discouraging. And
Absolutely.
yet there was a box at the house that was ready to be opened. And so that's how we began the project. Just as a review for others, the protocol and the program that I set up was photobiomodulation, light therapy on the head for 20 minutes-ish, 2 times a day. Then they used blinking lights at 40 hertz and sound at 40 hertz. And they could do that as much as they wanted, ambient in the room or watching it or looking at it, but ambient was fine. And repeating that again every day for 2 times a day. We did an assessment just like the doctor did. We did a MoCA test, and we did a peanut butter test. And the peanut butter test is one of those that is now used to determine cognitive health if you're not congested. It is dependent upon your health, but It really is an interesting test that's now accepted, as you can smell peanut butter starting from your waist going towards your nose. The closer to your nose it is, the not so good your brain is functioning. The better your brain functions, the sooner you smell the smell. And left side and right side have different capacities to tell about what's going on in your brain. So we did that a little bit, but we did the MoCA. Colleen and Joe and Eva and I were in it was a difficult day. Colleen had trouble like crazy. And to recognize that the trouble that the doctors had seen was real was pretty dramatic. And it touched all of us emotionally. So the story is that 0 to 19 indicates cognitive decline and named Alzheimer's. Colleen scored 5. It was a rough day. So we started the protocol. Before we got finished with the test, almost, she had the light on her head. She was like ready to go. And I get the impression that Colleen was absolutely gung-ho for this. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah, she was all in.
Yeah, so she did. And then all of a sudden, and I knew from experience that it was a fast change that we could see. Lo and behold, her sister, Eva, called me. Marcy, Colleen's back. Colleen is back. And I said, what? She said, she's back. And I said, what are you talking about? She's normal again. Eva was without a doubt. She was like jumping through the phone. And then I called Colleen and Joe, and sure enough, Colleen was like running the show. She was on top of things.
And Marcy, how many days later was that?
It was about 8 days, wasn't it? Just within that first week almost. That's
I don't have the data here in front of me, but that sounds like, it was pretty quick.
And from what Colleen and I and Joe have been talking through, the last few months, I'd say 6, 7, 8 weeks, Colleen has grown in her capacity to tell jokes, to say what's going on, to be in charge, to plan, to her status of functioning is as close to normal as I am, Ginger is, and Joe is, as I can tell. Colleen, do you want to talk about how this has affected you?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, there was a lot of things that I just couldn't do. Things that I would have to have Joe help me, put clothing on. Things that I would have known all the time, and I couldn't. And it was very frustrating, very, very aggravating. And Joe had to put up with a lot of stuff that I put out of him, because it was like, why can't I do this? So there's still things I can't do, but it is so much better than I ever had before. So it really made a huge, huge difference in people now that I talk to. They will say, and I'll say, yes, I have Alzheimer's and da-da-da. And then they're like, really? I didn't know. So that's a huge thing. It's not like, they're looking at me like funky or something. No, they just didn't know that I even had it. So I think that's a big thing when people tell me that they don't even know that I had it, or that I still have it. That's true. But it's a lot better than it ever was. Go ahead.
So just to make sure that we were doing this as a study, we waited till 6 weeks. Even though you were better, we waited until 6 weeks for you to take the MOCA again. And you scored 20 points. So anyone between, 20 and 30 is normal. I'm betting if you do this again, you would score much higher. I think it's been a slow process of improvement, and you're still improving. Do you have to stay doing the protocol? Can you quit it?
Can I quit it? No, yes. I don't want to quit it.
I know you don't want to, but what would happen if you do?
I don't know. That's what I don't want to stop it.
Okay. So,
because I still, there's, I'm better, but I think I can get more, but I guess I can do more than what I'm currently doing.
Absolutely. The brain continues to make the tangles and the tau protein. So it is like some people have hearts that twitter, and they have to take this medication every day to keep their heart from going out of sync. Well, you have to probably do this every day, maybe not every day, but at least 3 to 4 times a week, you need to provide the information the brain needs to take care of that tau protein that got made the day before.
I do it every day, 2 times every day.
And
That's what I
Colleen, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
do. I'm 20. Well, now I'm 20. What is it? 63.
Yeah. So you're a young woman and you've got a
That's
long life to yeah, you've got it. Well, you got a lot of life left to go. So you got to keep that brain nice and healthy.
Yeah. No, it's a huge thing because when the first time I went to the doctors, they were really nice and they're really sweet, but there wasn't anything. And then to be able to have something that is in your house that I don't have to go to the doctors. I don't have to go down to, Boston to drive down there all the time. It's literally in my living room and I can do it just anytime I want. And it's comfortable. It's like to the point of, okay, this gives me hope to all of this, things are going to get even better. And that's not something I had before at all. It was like I don't know how to say it, but it's kind of like a dark, it was a dark time that I couldn't even figure out how to do basic shit sorry, but I shouldn't have said
That's
that.
okay.
But let's pick that out. Just basic stuff that I should know. I did not. And it was so, when you go to the doctors, they make you take that test and all of that. And it's so, it just makes you so sad that you know that you should know that, but I couldn't figure it out.
Give us some examples since we weren't there with your testing. What were some of the things you could no longer do
Oh my gosh!
that you can now do, like tell the time or things like that?
Well, just what year it was. When they asked you the question, what year it was, you were 1942, I think was your answer. I was just like, what? I was sitting over in the office with them while he was conducting his examination of her eyes and then started the test. And I was like, 1942, where'd you come up with that? I'm, kind of made me concerned immediately. And then it was, now you know what year it is without any kind of second thought.
2024.
Right.
2024. I also had if I could sing it, if you told me something, I would have, if I could sing it, I could then usually kind of figure it out. I don't have to sing to get things. And I know that's weird, but I don't know why, but if I could sing with it over and over and over and over and over again, then I could. But now I don't have to do that. And Joe now is much happier because I would ask him a question and then 2 minutes later it'd be, what was the answer? What was the answer? What's the answer? I mean, he's got a lot of, he's really good, but I mean, after a while, it's kind of like, really? I told you that 27 times, and now that's not the case anymore.
We had no idea that it was this Alzheimer's, and we had been dealing with it for a while, and it's just such a slow progression that you don't really even notice it happening. And I mean, I was stunned by the answers that you were coming up with in that first test. That was the first time. I'm not sure what your score was on that. I don't remember.
I'm sure it was bad.
It wasn't it wasn't high marks, I'm sure.
So, Joe, are you retiring?
I think we're going to go with one more year with school, and then along the way, we're going to have to reevaluate as time progresses. But I think that Colleen is all on board with me going back to school. She's wanting me to go back to school. And of course, I'm apprehensive because I'm not sure how this disease is going to progress. I know that the Photobiomodulation has improved, and it's like her wellness period to sit down in the morning and do the treatment, and then she looks forward to that in the morning, and she looks forward to it again in the afternoon, and it's something that has helped her to help center herself, and it's improving her health, and so her
And is that
mind.
something that she has to be reminded to do, or Joe, or Colleen, you just remember to do it?
I do it.
That's
I do.
huge.
It's me.
Yeah.
It is. And the other thing is, if I mean, it's just, it's a touch point to where it makes me, I don't know, how do you explain it? It makes me better just by doing that. Even just because here's the thing: when you have this, it's really awful. But if you have this, and nobody has anything, the doctors can give you a pill, but it doesn't, help that much, to be honest. But this gives you like, okay, I'm doing something. I'm not just sitting here in a chair crying. Oh, that's the other thing. This was when all of this was going on. Whatever reason, I could be talking to you, and then I would break out and crying, like just crying, like full on, like unbelievable. Somebody just died crying. I don't know why. Absolutely know why. What the heck? This is such a neat. It's so mean. This disease it's just mean. It tries to keep you away from people. It really does, because you can't talk very well most of the time. Nobody believes you when you do have it. Then they're like, oh yeah, Alzheimer's. It's almost like they want to stay away from you type thing. But I have friends now that I haven't told, and they don't even know. They don't know. So this whole thing is just so, it's just like the meanest thing you could ever have. And this, what she's given us with the lights, is life again. It's life. Joe doesn't, Joe can go to the grocery store. Joe can do whatever he wants. It's not like, oh my God, I have to have him to be able to figure out what's going on in my. It's really weird. I told him, it's like, I don't even know how to explain it, but there's something like, there's things in your head, and you're like, what? Where is this coming from? And you just don't know. And then but if I do this, I will go, and I do this every day. It gives me purpose. It gives me hope. It gives me to be able to do this. I mean, I can do a lot more things than I ever could before.
And what are your physicians saying?
That will be interesting, because at the end of, when is it?
It's the end of this month.
The end of this month. So I'm really looking forward to talking to them to see.
Oh, so they're not aware of your progress. Oh, that's going to be great.
I know, that's what I'm really looking for. And again,
give me the test.
Well, I mean, there's still things like, I had trouble just even putting up my name. I still do that. It's better than it was, so is it cured? I would say no. There's still a lot of little things still, popping in and out, but it's so much better than what it was. So much better.
That's great.
And I'm reading again. I'm doing, and I had people come over for a pool party, things like that. That takes. And I make zucchini casserole. I'm going back to doing those things that I didn't do. I kind of just let Joe take over, because I would start doing something and I couldn't finish it, whatever it was.
So we are just delighted with your presentation and your sharing with us. What a joy we have because of your joy. It's really wonderful. So thank you so very much.
I have a question before you end.
Okay.
Okay. So
second.
Was it just red light or red and infrared on the skull?
It was both, I believe.
Yes, it was both. The beauty of this is that it's mobile. It moves around. It can go from bedroom to, living room. And yes, it is a simple process. It's really not that difficult to put the protocol in place for someone. So we appreciate your sharing, and I will have a report ready for you to take to your doctor within a week. It should be finished by now. So, all righty.
I can't say how much. Thank you. It gave me my life back. It really has. There's more things to do. But I won't like this dress. I went and bought this dress, and that's pretty cool. That I went in, and Joe felt comfortable enough to let me go through everywhere and say, oh yeah, where's and he didn't have to follow me and all of that. So it's a big deal.
Marcy Dutton and Dr. Ginger Bowler are certified light therapy instructors and co-founders of the Light and Energy Training Seminar Certification Program. You can send us an email with your questions and comments to podcast@letskeepitlight.com, and be sure to visit us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Sarah Weston. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of Let's Keep It Light.